Hello, this is Joseph Joestar, and I'm here to review JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 1, Phantom Blood, and with the help of my grandfather, Jonathan Joestar. Isn't that right, Grandpa? Oh, sure is, Joseph. It sure is. So, before we get started, I would like to offer my sympathies to the family and friends of Unsho Ishizuka. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. By all means, I do apologize. He was a great voice actor who played the voices of old Joseph Joestar, as well as Mr. Satan, Dragon Ball Z, Professor Oak in Pokemon, Hardboiled in Gintama. But I'm not sure if you guys know that series. It's very much underrated. And Van Hohenheim in Full Metal Alchemist. Like to say, rest in peace. Do the salute, Grandpa. Oh, but I can't. Stuck in this pose. Cool pose. Let's proceed. Okay, so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 1, Phantom Blood, the part that started it all. Now, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of the most, if not the most, influential series to have come out of Japan, and it all started in 1987. Can you believe that? It's been 31 years. That's 10 years older than me. Like a month, 10 years and a month older than me. God, what am I doing? What are you doing indeed, Joseph? Whatever. So, hello, beautiful people. Excuse me. I have a hoarse voice, so I have to drink some water. And it's very nice to hydrate yourself by drinking water every now and again. So now, Grandpa, yeah, would you like to do the honors? Okay, so listen here, you scrubs. Seriously, that's so unlike you to say that. Oh, yeah, I know, but I wanted to try something different. Let's go on. Okay. So, Phantom Blood takes place in 1880s England, post-industrialism England. Yeah, modern industrialism. Yeah, cause I definitely know about that. So that means that that poverty was at the height right there, and it was a time where serial killers such as Jack the Ripper were let loose. So this story focuses on my family, on the Joestar family. My family was one of the richest ones in the whole country, and it all changed my life when poor boy Tio Brando came and lived with us in the Joestar mansion. Okay, so how did that happen? We have to go back to 1868, or when my family had an accident, and the wagon flew over a cliff and crashed, and my mother died there. So so the Brandon family of thieves, came to check out the accident to see if there were any corpses to loot, and they found my mother dead, and they found my father unconscious. So when they wanted to loot his body, he woke. He regained consciousness, and thought that Dios father Dario Brando was just a good Samaritan who came by to check out the accident and see if there was anyone to rescue. So as for my father George Joestar felt indebted to the Brando family, and gave Dario and I will adopt your son when you die card. So 12 years later, 12. What am I doing? So I'm sorry about that. I had to pause the music because it was distracting me. So as you were saying, oh yeah, so 12 years later, Dio came right into my door. Yeah, that's the right expression. Why do I have an American accent all of a sudden? I have no idea why we have American accents. It's probably my lack of being able to pull off a British accent due to my heavy Argentine accent that I have. Oh, but your accent, it almost sounds Italian. Yeah, well, no. Same thing. Okay, so I was saying, Dio came into my door, and my life spiraled downwards to me. He started bullying me and telling my friends I was a snitch, which I clearly was not. In all this, I made a nice, wonderful girl named Erina. We were so happy together, in fact, too happy, that Dio began to dislike my happiness and sexually assaulted my girlfriend, which sounds very awful. So yeah, I got pissed off. I hit Dio a bunch of times. He decided to kill my dog. Yeah, so that's the story. And if you do not want to know anything further and watch Phantom Blood with a fresh set of eyes, I recommend you click off this video, and see you next time. But for those who stayed, I'm not gonna be we're not gonna be discussing any major spoilers just yet, and if it happens to contain a major spoiler, I'll warn you beforehand. I probably won't, but he will, because he's a nice person. Okay. So now that we made a a recap. Means we can skip a bunch of the script. Yeah. So after those, we do have a 7-year time skip, which I love time skips. And if you do this series has a lot of them, which is a smart way to tell a story quickly and efficiently, in my opinion. And I do love when an anime has time skips like these. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, so to go over episodes 2 and 3 very quickly. Dio and Jonathan made up. Yeah, we made up. Sort of. So my father got very sick recently. And I started investigating why, and I found out that that Dario Brando, he got poisoned by Dio, and before his death, he displayed the same symptoms as my father did. So I went to London. Don't know geography. I'm not even that smart. Okay, so I went to London in order to spot out the vendor of this poison, and there I got assaulted. A place called Ogre Street, and there I made a friend who may have wanted to kill me. For those of you who watch this series, you may know him as the loyal Speedwagon. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, quickly though. So to finalize episode 2, we have to look over an item that was looked over, that we looked over, and I apologize. It was a stone mask. It was found in the wreckage. Very important artifact because Dio got drunk all of a sudden and decided to test it in order to kill Jonathan for him not to be found out. And when George died, Dio would get all of the inheritance. I just belched. I apologize about that. So he tested it out. He put some blood on him, and spikes came out. He put it on a stranger. The stranger turned into a vampire. So to sum up the ending of episode 2, the vampire turned to dust once the sun hit him. Oh no, Dio, I do not feel so good. So yeah, the episode ends with Jonathan about to arrest Dio. That's right, me. I was about to arrest Dio. I came with my loyal Speedwagon. Loyal steed indeed. So, to sum up episode 3, I came by with the police and the vendor of the poison, and the Dio wanted me to put on the handcuffs so that I could arrest him, but there was a ruse. He was about to stop me, but then my father, George, came in the way and took the knife for me. So with the blood, Dio put on the mask. Spikes came out of him, and he turned into a vampire. We He was too strong. So to summarize it, the mansion got set on fire, and I battled Dio for only for me to win and come out. But Dio, he was still alive. Okay, so I'll continue. So from there on out until episode 9, it's your typical journey of the hero, trying to beat the bad guy. And in episode 4 came this man, who is William A. Zeppeli, who teaches Jonathan basically some power karate, or Sendo, the way of the hermit. So with Jonathan having to learn this, it would mean that both William and Jonathan, or JoJo, as he would like to be called, go to defeat Dio. And also our noble steed Speedwagon joins in the journey for emotional support. He's basically a cheerleader in the part, which is not a bad thing. I mean, he doesn't get the powers, which is called Hamon, or the ripple powers, but he helps in every way he can, and this guy appreciates that. Okay, so we talk about the story, which I mentioned before is your typical story of the good and pure guy overpowering the incarnation of evil, which is Dio Brando. And I have to say, Dio is an amazing villain for the part, and its up and down is that he's so amazing that it isn't until part 4 that Hirohiko Araki, the author of the manga, couldn't come up with a better villain than Dio until part 4. So Dio does really well as a villain, and Jonathan does really well as a hero. The rivalry is so amazing, but Jonathan is just too straightforward of a character. He is purely good. He doesn't have any flaws, and that makes him a boring character, and one of the most forgotten JoJo's out there, which is a shame, because this guy is a wonderful character and he does well, and he does great for his part. But yeah, so that's about it, I have to say. So what makes Dio great is that he's just too evil. So evil that he's the incarnation of it, as I said, and he is too cunning of a villain. I mean, when he came to the Joestar family, all up until he turned into a vampire, he has planned how to ruin JoJo's life. He has been manipulating his friends, had found a way to destroy his relationship and therefore his happiness. And as I mentioned, he was poisoning JoJo's father, George. So, yeah, and I guess he would have gotten away with it all if it wasn't for that meddling JoJo. Okay, so moving on, we have the side characters, which are Robert E.O. Speedwagon and William A. Stepley, which are the most memorable side characters of the part, and that's not very good if you have two memorable side characters. You should have a part should have more, but it is very short, so I guess it's not really a complaint here, but yeah, Phantom Blood, it could have used a more memorable cast of characters, because the next one that we meet is a young child named Poco, which we only see him in part 1. So yeah, and we don't see a lot of him. He comes in episode 5, and I got to admit it, his scene of introduction was well executed. It was thrilling. No, the tone it drastically changed. It was everything I wanted. Okay, so the last 3 side characters that we get to meet at the very end are easily forgettable cartoon characters. We have first the mentor of Zeppeli, Tom Petty, which I forget about a lot of times. I'm not very good with names, so I forget about them. He's very old, so he's only in part 1 because the time skip between part 1 and part 2 is too great of a gap, so he doesn't make it. Then there's the 2 companions of William Zeppeli, the Dyer and Straits. See what you did there, Araki. So we have the three forgettable guys. Well, 4 if you count Poco. We have Tom Petty, have Dyer and Straits, and possibly 3 out of the 4 that I mentioned will easily be forgotten, and if you have watched it, then you know who it is that cannot easily be forgotten because of how good the character was used in part 2. So I got to say, even though they are forgettable characters, the 3 that I mentioned, the voice actors do a pretty good job. So great for them. They could have phoned it in because of how small of a role they had, but no, they each gave it their best, and that's great. That's what matters. You cannot phone in your performances in the anime industry, especially if you're Japanese. No. So out of the 3, one voice actor that I'm particularly fond of. His name is Nobotobita. I think I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, the voice character of Straits. He has this way of speaking, and his voice is so great. And with that said, I think it is a good time we talked about voice acting in this anime, because it's very well done in all of the parts so far. It is very well done. The voice actors are excellent, and I would like to congratulate them on making the experience better by their outstanding voice acting, which is superb. So let's talk about Pure Boy, Jonathan Joestar, who is played by Katsuyuki Okitsu, which I definitely pronounced that wrong, and I would love to apologize. But yeah, he is great in portraying this pure boy, this naive boy, this noble character, so noble in the way he says things. And the way he says, "That's unforgivable!" No! It's such a good line that he says, and he says that a lot in the video game, Eyes of Heaven, which is not a very good game, but yeah, I would recommend you guys play it if you are like really into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or don't. I don't care. So Jonathan Joestar, JoJo in the English dub, he's played by Johnny Young Bosch. You may have heard his name if you are into anime dubs. Yeah, he also does a very great job in portraying Jonathan, and he did very well. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what I'm saying. So let's move on to the voice of Dio Brando, larger than life Dio. That is very true of him, especially if you watched further into the show. That is very true. Dio here is played by the outstanding and iconic Takehito Koyasu, and he's so iconic. He played in so many different anime that whenever I hear his voice, I say, "Hey, that is Dio's voice." He's in anime such as Hunter x Hunter. "Hey, Joseph, you don't pronounce the X in Hunter x Hunter." "Oh, really? Okay." So yeah, he's in Hunter x Hunter. He's in Gintama. He's in Shade Anime Online. And to all the Sword Art Online fans, sorry, but not really. Not really, because it's... I find it awful anime indeed. Dio in the English is played by Patrick Seitz, who does a pretty good job as well. Both of the voice actors do great in portraying evil Dio, well, portraying evil itself. And if I had to say which one is better, I prefer the Japanese one. Although if I had to say, I wouldn't making this statement at all, because comparing the performance of a Japanese voice actor in an anime and an English voice actor is pretty much like comparing apples and oranges. That's all I have to say about comparing English performances to Japanese performances. What can I say? English dub is more accurate since since the voice actors have a have an English accent, and the Japanese people don't. So do a better job, Japan. I'm kidding about this, and I don't wanna spark any conflict of what is better, subs versus tops. I think that's a fight that's still going on, and I don't wanna add fuel to this fire, and I wanna leave it at that. So now, from moving on. Wait, final thought on the dub voice. It's a little off-putting, like for the first half an episode, but then it gets good, and the voice actors are enjoying themselves in their roles. So that means that they can passionately portray their characters, and that's very amazing. Oh man, this video is getting too long. 32 minutes, 30 seconds already into it, and I'm down to my last 2 points, which is the soundtrack, which is amazing. It hypes up action where action needs to be hyped up. It also adds on to the thriller atmosphere of 1880s Britain, with the heavy inclusion of vampires. It feels very similar